Today we're taking a look at the RX-7 from Hoyt for 2022. Welcome back to Mike's Archery's YouTube, and today we are taking a look at the lineup from Hoyt for 2022, and we have got the new RX-7 completely redesigned carbon riser for this year that we're looking at. Now, we have seen a little delay out of these bows. We were hoping they would pick up speed. It looks like they're going to be a little quicker on shipping this year than they were last year, but I would still recommend, if you're looking at one of these new bows, to probably get your orders in earlier than later to make sure you've got it in time for season. The IBO speed rating on this bow is coming in at 342 feet per second. The axle to axle on this bow is 30 inches. Making the overall cam to cam length 34.5 inches. The brace height on this bow is coming in at 6.25 inches, so not a terribly short brace height, but pretty short with that 30-inch axle to axle. Not going to be the most forgiving platform, but Hoyt seems to still perform even with those short axle to axle and low brace heights. Now, the factory spec weight on this bow is coming to you at 3.9 pounds. Now, we pulled it out of the box and threw it on the scale as it comes with the shorty stabilizer on there, and we've got 4.6 pounds. When we take the shorty stabilizer off and the other new dampening system off of there, we got it down to 4.0, coming in just about 1/10 of a pound over what advertised weight is. And frankly, compared to what they had last year with that 5+ pound bow that they put out in a carbon riser, we feel this is a major improvement with the RX-7 on the weight factor of this bow. So this bow is coming in at more what we expected a carbon riser bow to be at. It's only a little bit lighter than the aluminum series bows, but it's supposed to be. And we felt last year that was a major issue with Hoyt's carbon bows being literally 5 pounds out of the box. So we're glad to see this new redesigned riser and getting the weight back down. So they're not just shooting it for the cool factor, but also for the fact that it is lighter. If you're trying to shave ounces, maybe for a mountain hunt or a western hunt of some type, you can go back to this carbon riser bow and actually save some weight in it. It is a new redesigned cam with that new HBX Pro cam, and the draw length adjustment still goes from 25 on the low end out to 30-inch max on the standard 7. Now, if you're needing those longer draws, you're going to want to take a look at the Ultra to get those longer draw lengths. But this is going to fit most guys right there in the middle of the road from 25 all the way out to 30. It's a good place to be, fitting most everyone. Now, the draw weight options on this bow are coming from a 40 pound on the low end out to that 80 pounds. So if you need to get this bow set at a lower draw weight, if you just need that lower draw weight, or you're a woman or just getting started or whatever, and then build back up, you certainly can. And it still allows you that 80 pound option on the top end, which has been trending with guys anymore. We've seen a lot of folks moving to the 80 pound because of the draw cycles on these bows being, just very smooth and easy to pull back. So a lot of guys are going with a little more higher draw weight to get more kinetic energy and just more punch out of their setup. Now, the let-off options on this new cam are still 80 to 85% adjustability. It's just a simple move of that peg on the end of the module to get that change in your let-off. So let's talk about some of the new features. It is a completely new designed cam system. It is the new HBX Pro cam. It does build off of this platform that they had last year with that HBX cam, using that number 2 and number 3 module setting. So it's a little easier to work on for the dealers, a little easier for you to change the draw length. It's not a draw specific thing. It's also not a base cam specific item. So you're going to be able to take this to a shop and cover all the draw lengths with just a swap of the mods and not have to worry about swapping that base cam out if you need a shorter draw length. So that's really nice. We like to see that change, and they continued with that for this year. The HBX Pro is claimed to have the exact same draw cycle. Even though it looks a little different, we compared it to last year's cams, the look on it's a little different. It does have a little different lobe as how it comes through it, but that's just in the look. From what we've been told by the engineers at Hoyt, it is the exact same draw curve on the machines, showing it to be the same, and it feels pretty much exactly the same to us. So we believe that is true from them. It is supposed to be one of the smoothest and quietest as well as fastest cams they've put out. And that is true. It is one of the greatest cams we've seen from Hoyt in the last several years. We like to see the change. And when we were told that they changed the cam from last year to this year, we were a little concerned. But from what we've seen and what we've tested, the HBX Pro is performing and feeling just like that HBX cam. and our worries were put aside. So the bow is performing great and feeling great, just like last year's Hoyt was. Now, it is a completely redesigned riser for 2022, and we like to see those changes just to keep it fresh and keep it clean. And going from that 3-tube design that they've had for the last several years to a sleeker inline design, bringing everything more compact, it just gave it a nice change and a great look. The other thing we noticed is it did away with that pocket design that they had on the old RX risers. I'm sure that's where they saved some weight, because it was an aluminum pocket that was built into that carbon riser, and now you have a complete carbon riser from top to bottom with your inlays of parts that you have to have built in there. But overall, it's a great look, and they cleaned it up a lot, changed the look of it to look better, integrated some things, and brought the weight down. So all wins across the board for the new RX-7. Now, some of the other things they changed was with the Picatinny inline rail for the sight. Last year you had an extra bracket on the RX-7. You had to replace the bracket on the front, and it kind of sandwiched on the front of that riser. I think it eliminated some of your traditional hookups for quivers and sights, and we didn't like that. But the new design on the aluminum and the carbon risers is definitely better looking. It's more integrated into the riser. It's built straight in there. You still have your conventional mounting there for any regular sight, but you can now mount those new Picatinny rail sights directly to the front of this bow without changing out any parts. It just made everything look better and perform better on this bow. Brings everything in line, balances well, and just moves everything where it needed to be. Some of the things they kept on this from the past, they still have that integrated rest system, so you can still mount a traditional rest with the single bolt hole, but they still have the integrated rest system on the back of this. If you want to use the Hoyt QAD integrate system, you're going to be able to mount that or any of the other new rests that are coming out and using that integrated system. You're going to be able to mount those in line, nice, tucked away, tight there on the riser, bringing everything, again, balanced, more in line, and shooting great. They kept with that short stubby stabilizer down towards the lower limb pockets, and that clearly is taking vibration and giving better balance to this bow. But they also kept your traditional stabilizer spot if you want to move things back up to that place, and also include a back bar if you want to put that SL sidebar mount on here from Hoyt. All those integrated systems still fit on here. With that said, they did redesign the inline quiver system. So they've got a whole new quiver system for all their bows for 2022. It's a lot sleeker than last year's, brings everything in tighter. The mounting brackets are integrated very nicely. Just kind of balances everything out with that new quiver system if you're going to stay with all Hoyt accessories on this bow. Now, beyond that, one of the other first things that we noticed that they changed was the grip. And frankly, the grip on this new bow feels great. That new Vital Point grip system built into the riser there has a great feel in your hand. It's a little slimmer in your hand. It's got a nice rubber coated grip over top of the riser. And then it's got a little indentation on the side of the riser where your fingers kind of can rest there and just be comfortable through the shot. But overall, we love the feel of the new grip on the Hoyt. So if that's something you've looked at in the past on a Hoyt and didn't particularly like, take a look at these new Hoyts, because this new grip system feels really great in the hand. One of the other things they changed was a new riser dampener system on the outside edge of the bow, right near the limb pockets, taking more vibration out of the shot of this bow and making it just a good feeling dead shot in your hand. They also kept with the single string stop as they had before, and that integrated roller guard up top, just giving it a nice smooth feel through the draw and keeping your cables moved out of the way, and a clear sight picture for that new integrated system. So now the color options on this bow are very similar to what they've brought in the past. You still got 3 solid color options with the black, as well as a buckskin and the wilderness, which have all been popular colors the last few years. And they've kept with 4 camo colors with your Realtree Edge, your QU Verde, a Subalpine, and an Elevated 2. You can also get this bow in 3 special edition colors, one being the Cameron Hanes Keep Hammering Black. Also, you can get it in the Bone Collector, available in a black bow with Bone Collector logos, or the Realtree Edge with Bone Collector logos. The price point on this bow is coming to you at $17.99. We saw Hoyt take a price increase toward the middle of the year last year, and that held through this year. Everybody's prices have gone up just due to the change in the economy, and they were no different. They just did it earlier coming into this year. So $17.99 is where we're seeing a lot of these new carbon risers fall at from them, as well as the competition. So now we're going to step over to the lane. We're going to take a few shots out of this bow, kind of give you a breakdown on what the speed ratings, as well as the noise rating, and just the overall performance of this bow is. As usual, we'll be shooting this bow on 70 pounds. at 85% let off and 29-inch draw length, and shooting a 400 grain arrow. We'll also be breaking it down with a 350 grain arrow all the way out to a 500 grain arrow, just to give you a better idea of what those speeds are coming depending on your setup. So we stepped over here to the lane, and we're going to take a few shots out of the RX-7, kind of give you a breakdown of where the speeds and things are. As usual, we'll be shooting this bow on 70 pounds, 29-inch draw length with 85% let off. And we're going to start with the 400 grain arrow and then give you the specs on all the other grain weights that we shot. All right, so with the 400 grain arrow, we got 301 feet per second. So breaking that 300 mark. Really good speeds out of this thing for the Hoyt, and right there, not the fastest bow we've shot, but definitely in the top, I think, 3 or 4 bows we've shot for this year. Now, as far as the breakdown of the speeds with the other grain weights, when we drop down to a 350 grain arrow, we got 320 feet per second out of this bow. Again, 301 at 400. With a 450 grain arrow, it went down to 287. And then with a 500 grain arrow, it dropped down to 272. So carrying those speeds pretty well as you get a heavier arrow. So that'll give you an idea where you're going to be depending on what setup you want to do with this bow. Now, as far as the noise rating on that bow, coming in at 97.8 decibels, so a little louder than some things we've seen, but definitely not the loudest bow out there. Overall, just listening to it sounds pretty good. It's right there in the middle of the road with most of the noise ratings that we've been getting with these bows. Now, as far as the feel with this bow, as we mentioned, the new HBX Pro Cam, we were a little concerned when we were told that they had changed it, but it really does feel exactly like last year's bow. Even though it looks a little different, we've been told on a draw curve machine that it is actually, measuring exactly the same draw curve as the HBX, and I believe it. It feels really good. It's extremely smooth coming through the draw cycle. Doesn't drop off bad there on the back. Has a great back wall on it, even though it's only a cable stop. No limb stop option from Hoyt ever. It's just a great overall feeling bow from Hoyt through that draw cycle and the way that it shoots. Now, the after shot on it, very dead in the hand, very similar to what we felt last year. Doesn't really have that carbon feel to it. So whatever they've redesigned in this bow with this new riser has got a great feel. Like we said, we like that new grip, sits in the hand very stable, and just overall a great feeling bow. So if a new carbon bow from Hoyt is something that you're looking at, give us a call here at Mike's Archery and we'll get you set up with one.